Can you live with somebody who has disappointed you? Watch out for people who fight stuff all the time. When you are always talking about something, don't be surprised when you find them warming themselves by the fire of the very thing. It's eating at us. It is not what we are eating that's making us gain weight. It's what's eating at us. It's eating at our rest. It's eating at our joy. It's eating at our marriages. Because the suicide rates are going up while we are quiet and silent and politically correct and dancing all over the world. Our kids are blowing their brains out, and I will not keep silent. I'm tired of short caskets. I'm tired of 15-year-olds being killed in drive-by shootings. Somebody has got to have the courage to talk about life that is not just a straight line, and not just saying I'm not his disciple. He said, I don't even know him. It's a shame, but it's true. A lot of people say a lot of stuff until it gets real, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, to richer and for poor, till you pee on yourself. When it gets worse, shame. I was reading a non-canonical book called The Gospel of Judas, and in it purports the ideology that Judas really wasn't trying to betray Jesus. He was trying to put Jesus in a situation where he would have to overthrow Rome. And he thought that if he got Jesus in an open confrontation with Rome, that Jesus would show his power. And the trick blew up in his face. And he didn't know they were going to kill him. If he knew they were going to kill him, then why did he hang himself? And some of us have made decisions that cost other people their lives and their futures. And it's hard to live when you got the masterful plot and the plot goes wrong. We can't tell when our friends turn jealous, when our wives fall out of love, when our husbands stop caring. I'm talking about a guy who couldn't get rid of his shame, so he got rid of his life. I'm talking to somebody out there who has a hard time living with a dark secret. Judas didn't have to hang himself, and you don't have to blow your brains out. Jesus died for your kind of shame, for what you did to yourself, to your family, for what you did to your future. You do not have to go and hang yourself. God still wants you. He still cares about you. Isn't it funny when your name gets bigger than you? When you got a great name and a great person and a great professional and a great the other, and you got a great name, but you got a messy past. Somebody right now is in a situation of fluctuation, and you are not living up to your highest ideals. You smell like swine, but he still wants you. A lot of us don't know what's in us, what we're capable of, because we buy into the myth. And we believe our own headlines. You're a rock about this, but you are scared to death about that.
Hang on. I have Miss Columbia on my talk show. Miss Columbia gave me the highest rating I've ever had in the history of my 4-year-old talk show. T-Mobile called and paid me millions of dollars to do a Super Bowl commercial. A cha-ching. They paid me so much money, I go out there next year and say the wrong name again. You got to wait and see what God got for you. I told my wife, I said, I always wanted a Super Bowl commercial. Said had one, they never gave me one. He gave me all of that, increased my global persona. We now have villas in 12 countries, free villas that we can go to, 8-bedroom villas. I can come for a month, me and my family absolutely free. See what God do? You got to work through the adversity. When adversity hits y'all and it's coming, remember there's a lesson and a blessing. You got me? All right, next thing I need for y'all to know. This is the third lesson. Quit asking God to make your life easy, because he ain't going to do that. See, people, y'all go to church, man. Y'all got all these scriptures y'all memorized, don't apply none of them to your life. God ain't finna make your life easy. Lord Jesus, Lord, I don't want this on me. Sorry. Lord, take away all my worries. That's you worried. Lord, I don't wanna do this. Lord, I'm so tired. What y'all doing? Quit asking God for that. You gotta have some faith. See, listen to me. Faith don't make it easy. Faith makes it possible. You gotta have faith, man. If you gonna graduate and whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, you gotta put some faith on it. You can get through with all this here. You're gonna get your degree, and man, I can't tell you how big this is. But it's gonna be a piece of sheepskin that's gonna hang on your wall. You got to go do something. You gotta get some faith in your life. Lord Jesus, I want my life to be easy. It ain't finna be easy. You're gonna lose some loved ones along the way. You're gonna not get the job you want. Somebody on your job one day gonna come in there and hand you a slip of paper and tell you they don't even want you here no more. One of your companies is gonna up and relocate, and you ain't gonna have the money or the resources to go with the company. You're gonna go outside the club one day, your car gonna be gone. You're gonna drive up one day, your house gonna be on fire. Now your house fully ablaze. What is you asking God to take the fire off your house for? Your house is already on fire. Lord Jesus, had them drive my car back up here. Thieves don't return cars. Faith don't make it easy, man.
That's everybody's dilemma, I think, these days. A woman married to a baseball player, as to say, he's going to be gone most of the time. Would that be the ideal marriage? And the answer is certainly not. But should a man follow his talent and his unusual skills? He probably says yes. She says, well, at times I wish he was a banker and not a home run hitter. You know, it's a dilemma for all of us. How to balance it all, make sure we don't sacrifice some values for others. It's difficult for two people to grow at the same rate. One becomes ambitious and one's a little more, let's say, at home. How do you balance that out and make it work? It's never ending in terms of its challenge. A wife who has a career and children and husband and social responsibilities and friends and church and whatever, it's a big challenge. My current heroes are single mothers and school teachers. How teachers have the patience to work with kids and try to get the message across and do a good job. They have my highest admiration. And then a single mother with children. Wow, that's probably one of the toughest jobs in the world. How to balance career, work, job, raise the kid, make sure spiritually, personally, socially they're okay. It just seems almost impossible. But human beings have the unique ability to do the impossible. They make it work. How many stories have we heard in our own country? A mother who scrubbed floors for years and put her kids through college, and now they're all professionals and lawyers and a credit to society. Les Brown's got a great story. A mama who really cared but did the menial stuff till finally he got going and could help. Some people's lives, we look and we say, how do they do that? And we think we're a little pressed, and how do you balance career and fortune and all that? Hey, try scrubbing floors to put your kids through college, right? And then you say, hey, my problems are pretty simple and easy. But we all have the push and pull. A woman wants a hero and a successful husband. She says, go conquer the world and be home by 5 o'clock. He says, wow, let's see. How do I do that, right? Would she be happy with half the world, right? If I conquered just half the world and got home by 6. Let's do a little compromising here. But anyway, it is a challenge. When I was growing up, Papa worked and Mama stayed home. I was raised in sort of that atmosphere. Papa figuring out enough to take care of himself and his family. But, those days have all changed. Now the dignity of career, right? I believe, women have equal rights to follow their own star, but then to do what you're ambitious to do and qualified to do and learn the skills to do and still make a relationship work and family and church and society. And it is a challenge. But I think we're up to it. At least we've got plenty of help here on information and books and people that have been through it and said, hey, here's a couple of danger signals. It's okay as long as, but when this, and you say, okay, I appreciate that advice. And sure enough, you're going along and then you say, wow, I remember I was told these couple of danger signals here. Looks like I'm pretty close to that. I better back away.
You shared it with them, and they shot it down. You know why they shot it down? Because they couldn't see it. Because God didn't put it in their imagination. He put it in yours. It was your evidence of things not seen. See, all this stuff you've been imagining, you ought to start working on it. Because that's what God really got for you. Your real life is in your imagination. I'm here to tell you that. You think I'm here by accident? I'm here because he put this in my imagination when I was 10. When I was 10, he showed me I was going to be on TV. That's all I ever wanted. The assignment when I was in the 6th grade was everybody write their name on a piece of paper and write what you want to be. You know what I wrote on my paper? I want to be on TV. Now, the problem I had, though, was I used to suffer with a serious stuttering problem. I couldn't talk outside my house. I stuttered for years. I flunked out of school. I'm on my 3rd marriage. I lost everything I ever owned twice. I've been homeless and lived in a car for 3 years. But at 10, though, I wrote on a piece of paper, I want to be on TV. So the teacher went around the room and read everybody's paper. She had you stand up when she called your name, and the only assignment was your name and what you want to be. Doctor, lawyer, dentist, basketball player, football player. I wrote I want to be on TV. She saved me for last. She said, little Stevie, come to the front. Now I'm thinking, I'm going to the front because I got the best answer. Because ain't nobody had put that on their paper. She called me to the front. I'm thinking I'm finna give me a gold star, but I was wrong about that. She called me to the front to humiliate me. First of all, you know I can't talk. I suffered with stuttering stammer so bad, man. I couldn't talk at all. And that lady lit in on me. Why did you write this on your paper? Now I'm standing there, I can't talk. Who in this school ever been on TV? Who in your family ever been on TV? Who in this neighborhood ever been on TV? I'm crushing, man. I'm standing there dying. She said, look at you standing there. You can't even talk. How they gonna put somebody like you on TV? So every Christmas, I send her a flat screen TV.
We need to let go of our need to fit into this small box society placed us in. And we must imagine the life we really want. Then, when we are certain what that life is, we have to go for it. We only get one shot at this miracle of human life. Live it fully and exactly how you want. Sure, we all have your dreams. There are only 2 ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other, as though everything is a miracle. He who can no longer pause to wonder and stand wrapped in awe is as good as dead. His eyes are closed. It really is.
Dreams without action, that's the path to delusion. Without action, these dreams and goals will fill your life with a load of negative emotions. Things like anxiousness, nervousness. They will fester inside you and drain your energy. The reason most people don't take action is simple. It's fear. Fear of failure, fear of success. And the only way to overcome this and to stop making excuses why you shouldn't act is to make not taking action more painful than taking action. People sit around and they focus on all the bad shit that might happen to them if they try to act, that they completely forget about what will happen if they don't. So think about it right now. Let's think of some things that might happen if you try to do the thing that you've been wanting to do for years. Okay, well, it might not work the first time. It might not be as easy as you thought.
People are going to think you're mad. They're going to look at you and think you're insane. They're going to tell you like, it ain't possible. It's risky. You shouldn't do it. Be careful. Stick to what you know. Stick to what you do. That. Follow your dreams. These people have to see to believe it, but you need to believe it to see it. Amazing things happen when you believe you have something. Your brain actively goes out to make it happen. It starts to notice little subtle opportunities that you would have otherwise deleted because it knows it's got a job to do to get you what you want.
But if you keep taking action, in spite of all this stuff that might happen, guess what? Sooner or later, you're going to start winning. Remember, there ain't no such thing as failure, baby, only feedback. So to make yourself take action, you got to make a decision. And that decision has to be final. People take action and get done when they have had enough. They decide. And they say, that's it. I'm done. No more. You're either moving forward or standing still. The choice is yours. Decide.
In this social media world that we live in today, it's so easy to lose your way. I look around at so many people today and can see that they just don't know who they are. It's easy to see the life that we live in today through some Snapchat filter. To look around at everybody else and say, that's what life looks like. That life looks perfect. I want to be just like that. So they go around and start acting like other people, doing what other people do, taking a selfie in front of an expensive car, put a million filters on the picture and upload that to Instagram to tell the world, this is who I am. The problem is, behind closed doors, they know that that's not who they are. So they end up lost, wandering around in a lie that they created. And the only thing to keep the lie going is more lies, more pictures, more filters, until one day they look around and realize that they have lost themselves along the way. They have no idea who they are or could be because they've been trying for so long to be someone else. I think the greatest, most influential people in history deep down are the way they are because above everything else, they were themselves. No one else. They wasn't like someone else or even compared to anyone else. You have to follow your heart. You have to be you. You have to make your choices based on your principles and beliefs, and don't let outside forces or influences dictate your decisions. I believe it's our decisions that make us who we are, and more importantly, who we could be. So if you go through life always making your decisions based on someone else and what they might think, you'll never truly find yourself. It all comes down to how much you care about what other people think. It's a scary thing in the world we live in today to be yourself, with so much fake perfection out there on social media. But I'll tell you this, it's also the best feeling in the world when you go through life knowing you ain't what other people's made you, but yourself. It's liberating. There's freedom in it. So stop hiding and be yourself.
I've had it with being broke, and I've had it with lying. I've had it with being embarrassed over not having any money in my pocket. I promised myself that day that this would never happen again. I picked a day and an amount, and I said, I'll never carry less. It was one of those reasons that still affects my life after all these years. So I now carry a few $100s in my money clip. I do that for two reasons, I guess. One reason is the way it makes me feel. That special feeling of having plenty. Mr. Shove said to me, the first $500 you earn, put into your pocket, not in the bank. It feels much better in your pocket than it does in the bank. I've found that's true. But I also carry plenty in case I bump into another Girl Scout who's selling cookies. I'm ready. I remember walking out of the bank one day in Northern California where I lived at the time, and there were two little girls selling candy right outside the bank for some girls' organization. The first little girl walked up to me and said, Mister, would you like to buy some candy? I said, I probably would. What kind is it? She said, it's almond roca. I said, that's my favorite. She said, wonderful. I asked, how much is it? She said, it's only $2. I thought, it couldn't be. Still $2 after all these years? I couldn't help remembering the Girl Scout and the cookies. I said, how many boxes of that candy have you got? She said, I've got 5. And the other little girl standing there, she was selling candy too. I asked, how many boxes do you have? She said, I've got 4. I said, that's 9. I'll take them all. They said, really? I said, yes. I've got some friends, so I'll pass some around. They got so excited, put all this candy together. I reached into my pocket and gave them $18. Now, when I've got the candy and they've got the money, that first little girl looks up and says, Mister, you are really something. How about that? Can you imagine only spending $18 and having someone look at you in the face and say, you are really something? Now you know why I carry heavy. I'm not going to miss those chances anymore. It was a small goal, just a few $100s, but it had a big effect on my life. I have a dear friend, Robert Depew. Bobby used to be a school teacher in Lindsay, California, the olive capital. After he taught school for several years, he became a little weary of teaching and decided to get into sales. One day, without telling anyone, he quit his teaching job and jumped into sales. When he did, his brother poked fun at him. His brother said, you're going to go right down the drain. You had a good teaching job. Now you're going to lose everything you have. You must be out of your mind. He put him down something fierce. Bobby said, the way my brother acted made me so angry. I decided to get rich.
I believe in bliss of satisfaction. Have you ever bitten into like a great steak and went, oh my gosh, it's delicious? You ever had that happen, yes or no? Did it make you not want the next bite more? Or did you want it more? See, there's a part of your brain, there's serotonin in your brain. The more you celebrate your wins, you celebrate when you're here, you have fun along the way, it begins to train your brain. You want to go to the next level. But if you cheat yourself from the celebration, you cheat yourself from the joy, it's always just a grind. Eventually there's this thing called frying and burnout where your brain doesn't want to do it anymore because it's not pleasurable. It gets no dopamine hit, no serotonin hit, and it wants to stop. You have to be blissfully dissatisfied. I talk about this in one of my audios and my book. My wife's a great example of this. We're complete opposites. I'm running out of time. I'm a super aggressive achiever. My wife, I call my wife, she's easy happy, easy satisfied. If we were living in a log cabin in the middle of nowhere, but we could cuddle up all day long and kissy kissy, she'd be happy all day long. She wears jeans and t-shirts. She could care less about material things. She could not tell you within many decimal points how much money we have. I'm not even sure she knows, other than Bank of America, where any of the money is. Could care less about it. She just loves people, loves life. She's the daughter of a pastor, her brother's a pastor. She's just a happy person. And she's married to a complete psychopath. But my wife, we've been together for a long time, she's developed some, I love my wife, but I don't like her all the time. The longer, any of you that have been in a long-term marriage here, they start doing some crap, man, that you just drives you crazy. Anybody relate to that, yes or no? My wife has developed this very bizarre habit. I'm not sure how it started or where it started, but when she eats pleasurable food, she moans orgasmically. So we'll be eating lasagna at the house, kids at the table, and she just started this a few years ago, and she doesn't even know she's doing it. We'll be eating, how was school today? Great, say the prayer, and then, or like, I'm serious, or like she's eating a brownie. I'm like, that is so weird. Stop it in front of the kids. What is wrong with you? She's like, what am I doing? I'm like, I don't want to even tell you, but like, it's really uncomfortable. Stop it. She's like, it tastes so good. I'm like, babe, we got it. Stop. But she doesn't know she's doing it. So my son's birthday happens. We're at this restaurant and she's hot. My wife's super hot, right? And I say that being married a long time, she's hot, dude. And so we literally walk into this place and there's some dudes checking her out, and I'm Italian, and I was in a bad mood, and you shouldn't look at my wife more than about one time, right? So these guys look at me, and my kids know, now that I've become a public person, I've gotten better at this stuff, but like, you get to look at her once, maybe twice. You turn around with a whole table full of people and come slap the shit out of you, right? Excuse my language. So these guys are looking at her a little bit too long, and they're on the edge. They didn't know it, but they're about to get slapped. They didn't, you know what I'm talking about, guys, right? They didn't know it, but it was getting close. You do it again, I'm gonna smack you. Sure enough, we're at their table next to them. Her steak comes, takes the first bite. They're like, oh! I can't even blame them. I'm like, stop it. So she goes, what, am I doing it? I'm like, yes, you're doing it. My daughter's like, Mom, you're doing it. Sure enough, a few minutes later, she's like, I'm like, this is embarrassing as hell. I can't even go slap these guys. These dudes are literally losing their minds, right? So we leave the dinner, we get home, we're getting ready to do what married people do after a night out. She's in the bed, and I go, hey, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go upstairs and grab a steak. And I'm throwing this thing in his bed with us, because I've never heard you make these kind of noises before. So we're throwing this steak in the mix, right? She's like, and she literally says to me, she goes, it's just so blissful. And I'm like, that's a training, because I'm dissatisfied and you're blissful. And I'm gonna tell you something, there's a lot of validity. You need to learn to be in bliss as you're dissatisfied. That bliss will cause you want to take next bite, next haul, next finance. At that same dinner, my daughter said to me, hey Dad, my daughter's pretty, like she's like me. My son's a sweetie like his mom. My daughter goes, hey Dad, what's up with the midlife crisis? She saw the video, I go, midlife crisis? What are you talking about? She goes, come on, social media, you're growing the beard out, the tight t-shirts, you're going through a midlife crisis. And I go, you know what, you're right, I am. Here's what you don't know. I was going through a young life crisis. When Daddy was 20 years old, I was going through a crisis to get to the next level at 21. I was going through a crisis when I was 28 to be better at 29. I was in a crisis when I was 35 to be a better version of me at 36. And guess what, boo? When Daddy's 55, I'll be in another crisis before I get to 56. And that's a fact. Anybody that knows me, if you want to adopt one of my personality traits, I'm in a crisis to get to the next level.
So what do you do when you're a doctor and you can't check in your own hospital? What do you do when you're walking around acting like you can't catch the flu? You don't get tired. You don't get burnt out. You don't have mood swings. You and her don't have an argument. Your kids are perfect. You phony. That's a lie. You can't raise perfect kids. It don't happen. You don't have perfect relationships. It don't happen. My teeth bite my tongue sometimes. They're in the same head. I mean, and there's no warning or nothing right in the middle of eating a hot dog. Just Dang. Next time y'all gonna argue, would you send out a memo or something? Because y'all are supposed to be in agreement, bless God. We're supposed to be in agreement. We're supposed to touch and agree on this hot dog. And put all that to the side. That's the salad. Let me say something about something else. I'm almost finished. But here's the interesting thing. Separate and apart from everything that Elijah is going through, God is preparing Elisha to be a support to the man of God. Now, it's going on while Elisha is plowing. Elisha is plowing, the son of a wealthy family, an heir to become the heir apparent to a family that is wealthy enough to have a field to plow, and at least 12 yoke of oxen meant that they were affluent people. This boy was being groomed to take over a major organization, and all he had to do was keep plowing. But while he's plowing behind the ox, he's frustrated because he has the sneaking, nagging feeling that there is something he's supposed to do with his life that he's not doing. And I don't care how much people pay you. I don't care if you get the corner office at the top of a corporate building. When there's something else that you're supposed to be doing, you're not happy doing it. You're only happy when you found your spot and you're in your place and you're doing your thing. That brings fulfillment and gratification. When you're doing the thing you were born to do, bless God. You don't do it for the money. The money just comes behind the purpose. Provision comes to purpose. The provision cannot be the purpose. You'll never be happy because you make a lot of money. All money does is make you more of what you were already. If you're lustful broke, you can do it better with money. That's the truth. If you're hateful broke, you get money, you can be hateful better. People scared to say anything back to you. Money just makes you bigger at what you were before.
everything was done to try to learn how to become a better basketball player. Everything. And so when you have that point of view, then literally the world becomes your library to help you to become better at your craft.
So because you know what you want, the world's giving you exactly the information you need to become better at it.
Because you know what you're looking for.
So many guys tell stories about your work ethic.
Yeah.
What was really your work ethic like, and for how long did you stay disciplined?
Well, I mean, every day. I mean, since, for 20 years. I mean, it was an everyday process and trying to figure out strengths and weaknesses. For example, jumping ability. Man, my vertical was a 40, it wasn't a 46 or a 45. My hands are big, but they're not massive, right? So you got to figure out ways to strengthen them so your hands are strong enough to be able to palm a ball and do the things that you need to do. Quickness, I was quick, but not insanely quick. I was fast, but not ridiculously fast, right? So I had to rely on skill a lot more. I had to rely on angles a lot more. I had to study the game a lot more. And but I enjoyed it though. So like from the time I can remember when I started watching the game, I studied the game, and it just never changed. It's a good separation for me, emotionally, to be able to put myself in a place where at practice or when I'm training or during games, I switch my mind to something else. I switch my mode into something else, right? For me, it's the equivalent of Maximus Decimus Meridius in Gladiator picking up the dirt. Smelling the dirt, it's go time, right? So that was my mental switch. It was like an actor getting ready for a film. You got to put yourself in that cage. When you're in that cage, you are that character. And then when you leave there, it's something completely different. But when I'm in that cage, bro, don't touch me. Don't talk to me. Just leave me alone.
How did you get mentally and emotionally so strong where it doesn't bother you?
Well, you got to look at the reality of the situation. Like for me, it's not, you kind of got to get over yourself. It's not about you, man. Like, okay, you feel embarrassed. You're not that important. Like, get over yourself.
That's where you go.
Get over yourself, right? Like you're worried about how people may perceive you and like you're walking around and it's embarrassing because you shot 5 air balls. Get over yourself, right? And then after that, it's okay, well, why did those air balls happen? Got it. High school, year before, we played 35 games, max, right? Week in between, spaced out, plenty of time to rest. In the NBA, it's back to back to back to back to back to back to back. I didn't have the legs. So you look at the shot, every shot was online. Every shot was online, but every shot was short, right? I got to get stronger. I got to train differently. The weight training program that I'm doing, I got to tailor it for an 82-game season so that when the playoffs come around, my legs are stronger and that ball gets there. So I look at it with rationale and say, okay, well, the reason why I shot air balls is because my legs aren't there. I go, well, next year they'll be there. That was it.
Done.
Were there some names that you looked at and says, these three guys are as crazy as I am?
I do. At the time, I deal with what I've referred to as Goat Mountain. I went to Goat Mountain, and I talked to Magic, Michael, Bird, Hakeem Olajuwon, Jerry West, Oscar Robinson, Bill Russell. So I would talk to them. What did you do? What were your experiences? Michael in particular, he's become my big brother. He's been my big brother since I first came in the league. And what was that process like? So I went to them and started understanding the ins and outs of the game and how they approach things and their level of detail and obsessiveness. And that's what I did. The players that had that passion but weren't willing to commit their entire lives to doing that, right? It's a choice, right? You have other things. You have family. You have all these other things that you have to do. The game can't really be your number one priority. And so I was just looking at that like, man, this is going to be fun.
Too many of you are stuck and this is not going to work because.
I stopped asking the question, how long will it take? And I started asking the question, how far can I go? And everything changed that day.
For people that don't understand the fixed mindset versus the growth mindset, how would you just summarize it right here?
So a fixed mindset is somebody who believes that their talent and intelligence are fixed traits set at birth. Somebody with a growth mindset believes that their talent and intelligence are malleable traits that will change with disciplined practice. And once you go from the fix to the growth, then all of a sudden everything changes, because you realize I'm not good at that yet. And just by putting that appending word on there, you realize, oh, okay, so if I wanted to put energy into that, I could get extraordinary.
See, in the real world, nothing comes easy. You have to put in the effort. You have to put in the blood, sweat, tears. If it doesn't hurt a little bit, if it doesn't sting a little bit, if it doesn't make you a little uncomfortable, you probably won't get very much out of it.
People see the 30%. They don't see the 70% of not making it or not getting what you want.
Your outcomes in life are often a lagging measure of your habits. We think the thing that needs to change is the bank account or the test score or the number on the scale, but actually the thing that needs to change are the habits that precede those outcomes.
But I changed from a goal mindset to a growth mindset.
I switched my mind to something else, switched my mode into something else, right? For me, it's the equivalent of Maximus Decimus Meridius in Gladiator picking up the dirt, smelling the dirt. It's go time. You got to put yourself in that cage. When you're in that cage, you are that character. So everything I saw, whether it was TV shows, whether it was books I read, people I talked to, everything was done to try to learn how to become better. Everything. And so when you have that point of view, then literally the world becomes your library to help you to become better at your craft.
You're either moving forward or standing still. The choice is yours. Decide.
In life, you have two situations. You are either born with too much because your parents are rich and they got or you're born with too little. And both are strengths and weaknesses. Your mindset decides it.
My freshman year, I don't play a lick. And before I knew it, I lost my mindset again. I began to recalibrate. You know, everybody doesn't play in the NBA. I'll graduate in 4 years. You know what? I just go get a good job. It's okay. It's okay. And the end of my freshman year, my daddy called me on the phone. He asked me a question. He said, son, you're not playing. Why not? Politics, Dad. It's political. My father asked me a question. He says, how did your coach get paid, son? I said, Dad, he gets paid to win. He says, okay, son, if your coach gets paid to win, won't he play the players to give him the best chance to win? He said, son, you got recruited. You took all your visits. You chose Minnesota. You took your time and you chose Minnesota. You told me that you're going to turn that program around. You told me you're going to graduate in 4 years. You told me you're going to make more money in business than you did in sports. One of the core values of our training and development called family was accountability. That was the core value of that training and development organization called the Bond Family, accountability. He said, so go back and do what you said you're going to do. My father reminded me of what I said I was going to do. I went back to my coach's office. I said, Coach, what do I need to do to play in the NBA? He looked confused. This is what I told him. I'm going to become somebody different. What do I need to do to play in the NBA? I'm taking this thing to the next level. We're about to rise up. So for you to be passionate, your logic and your emotions need to be intertwined. See, some of you guys have the intellect and some of you guys have the passion, but you have to have both to be successful in this business.